Greetings, everyone. Dawn Francis here. I'm so excited today because with this show today, we are going to be talking about something that we haven't spoken about over the last 5 months. And I say 5 months because we have been on the air for 5 months. This is Women's History Month, so I have to take the time to be celebrated, if you will. This is our fifth month of the Dawn Francis Book Show. And each time we have an author, it's an amazing time of diving in and finding out their story. And I'm so excited today because this show today is unlike any of our shows because we're going to actually take a look at business. And so our book today is from an amazing author, and she's an entrepreneurial and she is going to talk to us and give us nuggets about becoming better business people. So I want to take this moment to celebrate every woman that's in the audience because this is Women's History Month. This is Women's History Month. And I just want you to know that you are an amazing woman. No matter where you are, no matter what your background is, no matter what you may have gone through, we celebrate you. We celebrate us this month. Not that we shouldn't celebrate every single day, but we want to take this moment and say, we celebrate you as a woman, as a person, as mothers, as entrepreneurs, as authors during this time. So I just want you to know that you are amazing and awesome. And as we get ready to go into our show today, we are definitely going to be working with another amazing woman. Her name is Vanessa Collins. And we're going to take time and get to know Miss Vanessa Collins. Welcome. How are you today?
I am wonderful and thank you so much and congratulations. 5 months.
5 months.
Yay.
Yes. Indeed, indeed. And we're so excited to have you today because your book that you're going to be giving us nuggets from is unlike anything that we've done on the show before. So, as we're going to dive in and talk about business and entrepreneurship, I want to have our audience to get to know you just a little bit better. So, as we get started, who is Miss Vanessa Collins? Who is this magnificent woman? Who are you?
Well, Dawn, it depends on what day of the week you ask, what hour of the day, because as women, we put on so many hats. So, the most popular hats that I wear, I am a wife, mother, caregiver for my 92-year-old mom,
Oh,
an author, an entrepreneur, and I'm just really passionate about helping other entrepreneurs build their businesses and increase their revenue.
well, I think that's amazing. And I know that our audience is going to gain a wealth of knowledge based upon the things in which you're going to share. But, as you said, you're a mother. So I happen to know a little bit about you. Um, you were a chemical engineer. And that's amazing in itself. But, as I asked you, who is this woman? What would you say made you to decide to kind of switch and go into this entrepreneurship? Tell us a little bit about that.
I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Started back, I don't know if you remember when word processors were the thing. And I started long, long time ago, helping people with resumes and all of that type of thing. And then got into some businesses. I was like many women, many entrepreneurs that are listening to us. I was I guess you would call it a parallelpreneur. I had a full time job trying to work my business on the side. And one of the reasons why I really was drawn into entrepreneurship is because as an entrepreneur, you really get to write your own ticket. You get to print your own money. Yes, I said it. You get to print your own money. I know that many times when we think of the idea of being a, a having a fixed income, and I joke with people about this. When you are working for someone else, when you have a salary, you are on a fixed income. I don't care if you have 100K salary, you're on a fixed income because if your job, if your project does really well and brings in a ton of money for the company, you may get a bonus at the end of the year, maybe, but for the most part, your check is going to be the same as it was last month. But as an entrepreneur, when you do well, when you do some amazing things, you get to see that money. That drew me into being an entrepreneur.
Well, I love that. I absolutely love that. It excites me. It motivates me. Although I am still working as an educator, I do want to say to our audience, you guys want to continue listening because she has a lot to share. And as we dig in a little bit deeper, just to get to know who you are, Miss Vanessa Collins, who inspires you, and what's your biggest motivator?
There are so many people that inspire me. My husband inspires me. My mom inspires me. My children inspire me. One of my biggest inspirations, though, I think is from being a believer and really believing God's word. Don, I believe some of that stuff that's written in there. Okay. I believe that we can have things that God has set aside for us, that we can reach our destinies, that we can help others. I believe that stuff, and that's what motivates me.
Well, that's the best motivation I can ever. I can't think of any better motivator, indeed, being a woman of faith. So, as we continue on, I thank you for that. But so, your book, as we're going to dig in a little bit deeper, I want to ask you, why did you dedicate the book to women entrepreneurs? Because as we're looking at the book, and you can absolutely show us, I have a digital copy, so I don't have the hard copy. So if you could tell us, why did you dedicate the book to women? Indeed, indeed, indeed. Yes, show it to us one more time.
There we are. There's my baby. I dedicated this book to women because I think that digital marketing is one of the areas that holds most women entrepreneurs back. And it's just because we haven't taken the time to dig into it. And so this book is a representation of me digging into it a little bit and then coming back and telling my sisters, hey, guess what I found? Let me share this with you so that it can help you grow your business. You muted, Dawn.
We're so excited about that because it's Women's History Month. But just really quick, can men read the book and gain something from that?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it was only named Digital Mastery for Women because as I first started, that was the target audience that I was reaching. I was looking as a woman who was hitting her 50s, looking to see what's coming. That was my audience.
Awesome. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a moment with more of Vanessa Collins.
Every great song has its own kind of vibe, just like the streets they come from.
Now all that music from across America will go head to head
On one stage. Every state and territory will compete live for your votes.
in the biggest televised music event you've ever seen.
America's next great hit.
Could come from your hometown.
American Song Contest premieres live March 21st on NBC.
We about to blow. Give me more. Give me more. We got one life, so we not gon' waste it. Live a large life, the rich and the famous. Oh, 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 oh.
I'm Charles Meriday, and I'm in the restaurant business. In my 20 years as a chef and restaurant owner, I've been able to work and eat in some of the great kitchens around the globe. There's a whole side of the restaurant that most people will never get to see. So now, I want to take you to the back of the house, into kitchens of some of the best chefs in the world. Along the way, I'll share some of my own tips and recipes so you can cook like a pro too. So join me in the back of the house for a whole new perspective on cooking and food. Order in. Roger. Serve it, please.
Bonafide Club.
I'm glad that you came, please.
Drew on the key, so this not.
So nice, so nice. So nice, so nice. Virgin Islands nice. So nice.
And we're back with Miss Vanessa Collins, and we were getting amazing information from her, and we're going to continue to do so as we are looking at digital mastery for women. But as she stated before, that it can be for anyone, but she specifically named it for women, and we're happy about that because it's Women's History Month. But we're going to dive into some questions that's going to help our audience out. And my first question for you is, what would you say is the biggest struggle for women entrepreneurs as it relates to growing their businesses?
I think the biggest struggle is understanding this entire thing called marketing, sales and marketing. Most women, at least most women that I run into, they really don't like sales. I don't like sales. Nobody likes asking people for money. And then not really understanding the marketing aspects of it. Most of the times when women start businesses, it's out of a passion, it's out of something that they feel called to do. And they're not necessarily looking at, well, how can I make money from this? But bottom line is, you need to know how to make money from that in order to be able to reach the people that you've been called to reach. You got to understand marketing, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges, especially for women entrepreneurs just starting out.
Yeah, I absolutely understand that because I've experienced it myself. But as we're looking at helping our audience based upon the information that you have shared in this book, what I would like to ask you is, what if you could give us the first thing that we, as starting out, what we would need to begin doing first? Give us one nugget of what we should start off doing first. One of the most important things.
The most important thing that you have to do is understand the problem that you solve. That is the biggest thing. You have to understand the problem that you solve. Because as entrepreneurs, we're problem solvers. We get paid for solving problems. So the more that you can articulate that problem that you solve and be able to market that problem and then position your product as the solution, that is going to be the beginning of all the other things that you need to do down the road.
I thank you for that. So in reading your book, you talk about creating a list. You talk about creating a list so that no matter what happens in social media, that you could have that list. I would like for you to speak to our audience, one, about the importance of social media. And then I'd like for you to talk to us about that list that should be created and why.
Social media has leveled the playing field for business owners. Now, depending on how long you've been around, we've been around for a minute. If you remember back in the day, if you wanted to do a newspaper ad or a magazine ad, so let's say you had a product and it solved problem for people that maybe read Cosmopolitan magazine and you wanted to get in front of those readers, you had to pay a bunch of money to get in front of those readers. Social media allows you to get in front of those readers for pennies on the dollar of what you would have paid to do a magazine article or a magazine ad. Social media is where your people are. This is where people are talking about their problems. This is where they are congregating. And this is where you need to be so that you can, one, find out what their problem is, and then be able to share your solution.
Amazing. And I know our audience is taking all this up because we have wonderful interaction. Thank you so much, Lorraine Ferguson. She says, position your product as the solution. So I love this lady, Vanessa. Right. We have a lot of interaction happening from our audience, and we so appreciate you guys. Continue to give us questions and comments and feedback. So can you now speak to the point about creating a list and why that list is so important?
So the social media is important to start out, but you got to get them off of social media. Social media, they're third-party platforms. They are not your platforms. I know we talk about my Facebook page and my LinkedIn, whatever. It is not yours. Let me just break it down to you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Facebook is Mark's playground. And as you know, Mark can be very particular about his playground. If you get a little too aggressive in Mark's playground, he will put you in timeout. You will go to Facebook jail because you like too many posts or you reached into too many people's DMs and in a certain amount of time. So while social media is super important, you have to get those people onto your list. And that's where the digital marketing strategies come in.
You know, I didn't even know that there was a Facebook jail, but thank you for letting me know. I did not know that there was a Facebook jail. So I hope our audience is now aware that, you know, you can't just do what you want to do. We have some wonderful interaction watching my mentor Vanessa from Vancouver, Canada. Thank you so much, Julia, for joining us. You have wonderful people who are watching with us right now. Thank you. And she obviously knows that you are amazing and wonderful. So in looking at that, you know, without giving too much away, because what we want people to do, of course, is to support and go and purchase the book. But what would you say before we go to break, if you could tell us, just give us a nugget as to maybe what the first things we should do to begin even creating a list for those audience members who are out there and are like, create a list. How in the world do I do that? You know, what list? We have to get people on our list, Julia says. But how do they do that? What might be the first step in doing that?
The very first thing that you need to invest in terms of an entrepreneur is some type of email marketing software. You need to be able to create a list, and there's so many platforms out there: GetResponse, Constant Contact, ActiveCampaign. There are millions. I recommend GetResponse because that's the one I've used. But you have to be able to create a landing page. That is super important. And you have to figure out, and I want you to think about, how do other people do it? You got to become a student of marketing. And so you will see people give away free gifts, free digital gifts. You have run across ads on Facebook for free training, for webinars, for this free checklist. Guess what they're doing, guys? They are building their list. So the first thing I would suggest that you do is look around and see, how are people in your industry building their list?
Thank you so much for that. We're about to take a break in just a moment. The first thing Julia is also saying is invest in an email marketing software. Thank you, Julia. Loren Ferguson says, first step in creating a list, invest in an email marketing software. She says, thank you so much for that tip. So our audience is absolutely just gorging everything that you are giving here. Creating a landing page is important as well. And when we come back, she's going to give us some more, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Miss Vanessa Collins. We'll be back in a moment.
Time. It has a different meaning in the U.S. Virgin Islands. It goes backwards, forwards, it stops. St. Croix is rooted in history. So much of it still remains untouched.
I remember running on these streets as a kid. This shop was right down there. It opened the same year I was born. This is where the original Crucian Hook was born. It's the symbol of these islands. And I wanted to have my hands in that very same history. I want to be able to pass it down to my family while still putting a new spin on it.
The U.S. Virgin Islands, we have an amazing culture that developed over time from all over the world.
St. John feels so untouched. Being underwater is like another world. There's no worries, there's no stress. I can just escape. This is my happy place. My passion for scuba diving came at just being fascinated with the water and wanting to be a mermaid. And this is the closest thing I can get to achieving mermaid status. Canadians just love being outdoorsy. We live for adventure, so we love anything hiking, being on the water, diving, snorkeling, and St. John has it all.
It's like some spirit is protecting the island and keeping them raw. The Makujumbi watches over the island. From up there, they keep the evil spirits away. The nightlife in St. Thomas is absolutely amazing. There's always something going on. Everyone comes together to dance and catch a vibe. We're always celebrating. We celebrate freedom, culture, the food, the smell, the music. It's always a celebration. The people here are probably the most priceless thing because they keep the culture going. There's so many different influences on these islands. Food from all kind of countries coming together in new dishes. All of us came from somewhere, but all that we call this home. The VI is the new melting pot. This is where the past and the future comes together.
Are you a jazz lover? If so, have we got something special for you? Presenting Tracy Hamlin's Sweet Jazz Concerts. The first concert of 2022 is Sunday, May 1st, with saxophonist Paula Atherton and the songstress herself, Tracy Hamlin, at the River Creek Country Club in Leesburg, Virginia. Sunday, May 1st at 4 p.m. For more information and tickets, visit www.sweetjazzconcerts.com.
Sponsored by the Bank of Clark.
And we're back, and we're so excited. I'm excited because we're with Miss Vanessa Collins, who is a digital master expert. And as she is giving wonderful tips on what entrepreneurs should do and should not do, I have a question for you. And the question is, in your book, you call this your main cyber real estate. And because as a person who works with authors and as a person who works with entrepreneurs as well, why do you call it that? What is it? And can you tell us why it's important?
Your website is truly your cyber real estate. That is where people come to learn about you. That's where people come to purchase your programs, your coaching programs, your products, your services. And so you have to think about your website as your store. This, and it may not be set up as a store, but it is where the transaction happens. So imagine you owned a Walmart, right? Wouldn't we love to own a Walmart? Okay. So imagine you owned a Walmart and you have a ton of people in the store and they got their carts piled up. Guess what? How much money have you made? Zero. Because until they go to the checkout, until they take those cards up to the checkout and the cashier checks them out and there is a transaction of money happening, you haven't made anything. And so your website is that place where that transaction happens. So just because you have 10,000 followers on Instagram and you're big in Clubhouse and you got all these, you're doing reels and you're TikToking and all that good stuff, until you send those people to a place where they can put in their credit card number, their PayPal address, until that business transaction happens, you haven't made any money yet. So you have to have that place where you can transact your business.
I thank you for that. I think it's so important because as I've worked with others as well, a lot of times they don't think about that because a lot of times they're so, as you've already stated, so passionate about getting that baby out, so to speak, whether it be a book or a business or something else. They're not thinking about, well, you're gonna have to pay to get these things done. So I thank you for letting our audience know the importance of having a website. We have a lot of interaction happening, and I want to make sure that we get it. So Ladre says, yes, doesn't matter how many views or likes, it's not sold. If it's not sold, you are so correct. Thank you for that, Ms. Ladre. We have Chocolate Butterfly, Andrea. Awesome to hear my coach, Vanessa Collins, dropping knowledge. Awesome. You have a lot of people coming in. Think of your website as a store by Miss Lady Vanessa. All right. Thank you so much. And then we have great tips being shared by Lady Vanessa Collins. And we thank you so much for that. So as we're going to dig in a little bit deeper in this segment, and you've been giving a lot of nuggets out, and we are so grateful and so thankful because I think it's really important that, new business owners and people who are starting out in business, that they get a little clue. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times if you're going through it and you're by yourself, you get burned. You get burned. You end up either spending too much money or not enough money and not having what you need. So this digital marketing that Miss Vanessa is sharing is key so that, you don't get burned. Because I promise you, I could tell you many things about getting burned, but we don't want our audience to get burned. We want to share that knowledge. And that's a huge part of the book show. As well as the Discovering Strength series about us sharing our knowledge so that people don't have to go through the struggles that we went through. You know what I'm saying? So that is so important. I'd like for you, before we get into our last segment, if you could just tell us another tip about what you feel is extremely important for upcoming new entrepreneurs. What it is that you would say is another important nugget.
The next important nugget would be to really make sure you connect with people who have been where you're trying to go. I know a lot of times when we think about business, there's this whole idea of, well, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to, I don't want to give away too much. I got to be careful who I connect with. And let me tell you, there is enough out here for everyone. There's absolutely enough out here for everyone. Make sure you are connecting with people who can help you and who you're willing to help. You would be amazed that one little conversation, one little nugget that someone shares can be the thing that keeps you from bumping your head somewhere. It could be the thing that helps build your business. So don't be afraid to network. Don't be afraid to connect with people who are doing what it is you're trying to do. There are amazing business women out here. Don't be afraid to connect with them.
I love that we have some interaction. Ms. Ordine says, what are the sacrifices in entrepreneurship? Can you speak to that for our audience?
Yes. Oh my goodness. There are a ton of sacrifices, but it's almost like asking, what's the sacrifice of being a parent, of being a mom? Oh my goodness, there's so many. You can't even list them all. But for each sacrifice, the reward is great. One of the biggest sacrifices for entrepreneurship is you really have to get your mindset straight. When you are an employee, and a lot of times as employees, we have, when you're building someone else's business, sometimes you get into those moods, you get into those mindsets of, I don't really feel like doing this. It kind of drags on you. When it's your business, you really have to invest in keeping your mindset straight. And I know I keep using that word, and you're like, well, Vanessa, I keep having to invest. I got to invest in technology stuff. I got to invest in email marketing. Now I got to invest in mindset stuff. Yes, because you wear all the hats. And one of the biggest sacrifices is understanding that you got to control what you say or what you speak over your business. You have to control your attitude. You have to control those things that, you should be controlling anyway. But when you're an employee, you kind of let slide.
I love that. And I tell you, we're about to take a break. And when we come back in our last segment, we're going to dive in a little bit deeper. And we're also going to get a chance to ask Miss Vanessa some questions to get to know her a little bit better before we leave. So you don't want to miss it. We'll be back in just a moment.
Every great song has its own kind of vibe, just like the streets they come from.
Now all that music from across America will go head to head
on one stage. Every state and territory will compete live for your votes.
In the biggest televised music event you've ever seen.
America's next great hit
could come from your hometown.
Let's go! American Song Contest premieres live March 21st on NBC.
glad we're so excited with Miss Vanessa Collins. And in our last segment, we're going to dig in a little bit more as to who Miss Vanessa Collins is personally. So, as this is definitely a book show, we're talking about literature. I would like to know, who is your favorite author and what's your favorite book?
I have so many favorite authors and so many favorite books, but Jack Canfield is probably my number one favorite author, and the book is The Success Principles. It was one of the first books that I read that combined that whole idea of mindset along with very sound business practices. And I love Jack Canfield. You know him as one of the authors of Chicken Soup for the Soul. And he has sold, oh my goodness, I don't know, 80 million copies and all of that. And he was just a great influence, a great source of information, and looking at how he did things. And so that's probably my favorite author.
I love that. And that kind of also lets our audience, just gives us a little more insight as to who you are and why you're doing the things that you do as well. So I'd like for you to, at this time, share something with our audience as we are all getting to know you better, and our interaction is coming in really, really steady. And we thank you guys for that. But I'd like for you, let's see what Julia said. You have to control what you say, what you speak, and your attitude. I love that. I absolutely love that. Investment is not just financial, it is your time, family, vision, and goals. All of these are wonderful nuggets, wonderful, wonderful nuggets, and coming from the mouth of Miss Vanessa Collins. So my next question for you is, as everyone is wanting to get to know who you are, can you tell us one thing about yourself, maybe that nobody else knows, probably except maybe your family members? Like, you might be, I don't know, a hidden chef, or an amazing singer, or, you might be a photographer by trade, other than being the chemical engineer that you are. So give us a little insight about that.
Well, let me tell you what I'm not. I am not a singer. You do not want me singing, okay? They have not. I put it like this. The musical industry has not developed enough for my singing. A typical piano has 8 keys. Has 88 keys, but they use the same letters over and over again. Key of B, key of C. I may be in the key of J or L, and they can't keep up with it. But I love crafting. I love crocheting. I love crafts, and so one of my hidden passions and things that I love to do is crochet. I love finding new patterns and learning new stitches. I got to reverse engineer everything. So I love crafting and I love crocheting.
I thank you for sharing that, and that whole engineer thing is coming out probably in everything that you do anyway. So I also would like for you in just a moment to share what your next is. And I happen to know that you have something really special for our audience. And as she's going to share what she's going to share with our audience before we get into our joyful moment, I told her it's going to make me feel like I'm Oprah Winfrey. You get one and you get one. So absolutely. I'm going to have her to share what her next is, and also what the amazing gift that she's going to share with our audience. So go ahead and let us know.
Absolutely. Well, let me share the gift first. And I know I saw several people ask about the book. So I do have a special gift for you guys. The book is actually on sale on Amazon. The Kindle version is on sale for 99 cents. But if you go to digitalmasteryacademy.com /Dawn, DAWN, digitalmasteryacademy.com /Dawn. You will be able to get access to the link to go to Amazon, but also you will get access to 3 video trainings that will help you implement some of the things that I talk about in the book. And I went in last night and actually pulled some of the best of the best. I have some of my digital mastery family here, and I just want to just give a shout out to you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming and supporting. Love my digital mastery family. And I actually took couple of the trainings from our membership, and I've shared them with you as part of that bonus access. So again, if you go to digitalmasteryacademy.com /Dawn, you will get access to that training.
Well, we just thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for the wonderful gift. So we have favorite author of Lady Vanessa, Jack Canfield. She's just reiterating some of the things that you said. Thank you so much, Loren. But we thank you for that amazing gift. And audience members, I mean, isn't that awesome? It's awesome, but you got to put the / and you got to type Dawn from the Dawn Francis Show. So you don't want to miss anything. So you make sure and do that. Thank you so much. Let us know what your next is and how they can get in contact with you, because your mastery of digital marketing is amazing. And we want people to absolutely grow and learn from that. So can you tell us how we can do that?
Absolutely. You can get in touch with me. I'm all over social media, usually on Facebook. So I'm Vanessa Collins on Facebook. I don't go over on Instagram as much as I should, but you can find me over there at Van Collins 1. I'm on LinkedIn. If you would like to have a conversation, you can always connect with me at talkwithvan.com. Again, that is talkwithvan.com.
Amazing, amazing. So we're going to, before we leave today, we have to go into our joyful moment. And with our joyful moment, I would like for her to share her most joyous moment, past or present. She's going to describe it. Our audience members are going to interact, because if you interact and you answer the question first, you will win a book. Now, she's already given a whole lot, but if you DM us, you will win a free book. So she's going to give a description, and in that description of her joyous moment, the most joyous moment that she had, if you can tell us what it is, you'll win. So go ahead, Miss Vanessa.
So it was after a 5-year journey. I walked into this room and was just overcome with gratitude, because there was nothing else I needed to do. It was a 4-year
Nothing else that
journey.
you can do.
Yep.
I think you got to give us a little bit more. Somebody said tip. They need a tip. Give us a little bit more description.
Okay. So it was a journey that a lot of people only take 4 years to complete. I took 5. But after that journey, I walked into this very small room and looked around at the books that were there and realized I didn't have to look at them anymore.
All right, I'm not seeing no answers from my audience, so y'all don't want me to guess. Let me see. I could guess, but I already have the book. So let me think. You said
Lauren has it.
Somebody said graduation. Was it graduation?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so Loren Ferguson, she said graduation first. So you graduated and you felt like there was nothing left else to do. What a way to think, though.
You know what? I wasn't prepared for it. I was not prepared for that moment of, oh my goodness, I don't have anything else I need to study for. It was amazing.
Well, thank you so much. As we are about to close, I just want to say thank you, Miss Vanessa Collins, for joining us today, all the wonderful nuggets that you gave us. And I want to tell our audience, thank you for joining us. And you want to make sure that you join us in the next 2 weeks. You don't want to miss it, and have a fabulous day. Why? Because you can, on purpose. Have a great day. Bye-bye.